Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Chat. Even though I have my kind of screen in a weird angle, but that's okay. You won't mind. I feel like I said this once before, like a cat in the hat kind of look, but it doesn't matter. So today we are going to be talking about something that people have asked me so much. In the last month, I've had so many questions about this, like how to actually grow. And, look, there's no real answer, no easy answer, let's be honest here. But I'm going to give you a few tips and just things that maybe have helped me along the way. And I really do hope that this just does help everybody along the way. Because like I said, opening up your own business is a really hard thing to do. And the hardest thing to do, let's be honest, is get customers and get sales. They are really, truly hard. But today, like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about that growth and a little bit about how you kind of get to that growth. So, a disclaimer, I do not know everything. This is just, obviously from my own experience and things that have really worked for me. So I really do hope they work for everybody else. Now, before we keep going, because I do have my notes that I always do research on for you, I need to put on my glasses because I won't be able to see very well without glasses. So, and I like to be able to see your comments and read. Now, if any of you have any questions, please message me. You can, after this YouTube is loaded, and you forget to ask questions during the video, please message me and ask me questions. I always answer everybody's questions through YouTube. So, like I said, growing is the hardest thing I have ever done. Now, before you even grow, there's a number of things you need to think of. Hello, Pam, my darling. I hope you're having an amazing Sunday, or it'll be Saturday night for some people in Canada or the USA or the UK. You're a day behind Australia. We are lucky we get the day first. So, before you start, you've got to have a plan. Let's be honest. There's a few things to start. A plan, you need to have ingredients. You need to have some business cards, maybe some recipes, a logo, and then it's go time. But that is only the start. So that is, basically your idea. So obviously you got your idea. You're really proud of your idea. You think it's going to work. And I will tell you, from the first thing I did at the start to what I do now is really different. My logo is not the same. My color theme is not the same. I have changed my colors, my logo, my text. I've changed the way I style things so many times because you learn as you go along. You really, really do. Hello, candle making mama, my love. Welcome. Good morning. So, there is just so many things, like I said, that you need to kind of think of before you start. And when I even started this, I didn't do this to have a channel to teach anyone. I really just started this channel so that I guess I could kind of show what I was doing and a bit of my journey. And, I've said this many times. I honestly never, ever thought that, I would have more than, 50 people ever watching my videos. And, when you get thousands, it's kind of amazing. Hi, Joy. How you going, darling, from Georgia, USA? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, my journey has really changed. So don't ever think someone else is doing better than me, or maybe I should have done this at the start. You just start however you can. And some of us start with a lot more money than others. So it does come down also to finances. It also, I think your success will have to do with where you actually live. But before we get started, our main chat, I have a little surprise for you all of my beautiful little fur baby. So bring her in. My daughter Annie's bringing her in. It's very cold for her today, but this is my darling. Isn't she sweet? Raining in Minnesota. So this is my little darling. Her name is Pinky. And we only got her yesterday because lots of you know my beautiful fur baby Peaches sadly passed away a few months back. So we've got a new baby to love. So this is going to be our little Pinky, who's going to be in the screen sometimes. And she's just so, so darling. She is a toy poodle. And I've had lots of toy poodles. So she is my surprise to show all of my darling friends on here. And Pinky, you want to say hello? She's just such a darling girl. She's very, very, very sweet. But I'm not going to hold her in here long because the heater's on, but she's a little bit cold. She's got to go back into her blanket. She has a wool blanket. So Annie is going to take her back inside. So say bye, Pinky. In you go, my love.
Bye, Mama.
So so that's my darling. Isn't she beautiful? I just love her. And after Peaches passed away and I wouldn't stop crying, my gorgeous husband actually bought me the dog. So we went to pick her up yesterday, which is very exciting. So anyway, that's exciting. I know it's off topic, but I wanted to show all of my gorgeous friends on YouTube my beautiful little baby. So now let's talk about this. Now we're going to go back to what we were talking about before. Now, like I said, you've done all these things. You've got your logo. You kind of know what you want to do. But now let's talk about this in capital letters, no sales, let's cry. And that's what a lot of people say to me. They say they're really proud of what they've done. They know their stuff works. They've tested it. They've done all of those things. But now why isn't it selling? And it's not to do with your product not being good. Generally, it is marketing. Oh, yes, Pam, she is beautiful, isn't she? And, of course, her name is Pinky, and it just definitely does suit me because I love the colour pink, and I knew that was going to be her name, whichever dog I got, because my son named Peaches through the Ice Age movie, actually, is how she got her name many years ago because we had her for a long time. But anyway, Pinky is just beautiful, so we love her. So like I said, look, let's be honest here. It's not, if I'm really honest about business, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take you a long time, and it's taken me years to get to this level. And, I've had a few people ask me, especially on Fair or Wholesale, like how they actually start selling a lot. If I'm honest, when I was on Fair, I really got no sales at the start. I think I had like one sale in 6 months on Fair. But the longer you're on there, the more trust you start to build. Then what happens is Fair will start to push you out in front of others. They're not just going to push a brand new business out that has no trust. So what you're really hoping for at the start is people to buy. So what I did is I sent my direct link from Fair, which you can get a direct link to, customers. I even sent it through emails. So when I did my email through my website, I sent that and said, if anyone wants to buy wholesale, please click on this link. I put it on my site. I put it on all the social medias. And then what happened was people started to buy, and then they left me a review. So once they leave you a review, it really honestly does help you on Fair, because the more reviews you have, the more positive things you have, then the more they're going to push you out and the more people that see you. And the longer you're there, the more people see you. So, it really does take a long time. Do you think you should have your stockist order through Fair? Look, no, you don't need to. I mean, if, honestly, sometimes if people on Fair find you and it's not through your direct link, then basically you lose 25% of the total order. And I had an order over $2,000, so I order huge amount. Oh, current stockist. Yeah, definitely. If so Candle Making Mum is asking if you have current stockists that are buying from you, should they buy through Fair? Look, there's a lot of reasons why I think they should, and I'm not affiliated with Fair. I just sell on there, so I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that. But if they order through your direct link, it means that there's a number of bonuses for them and for you. Number one, you don't lose any money because you've sent the customer directly there. It is definitely worth it. It will help with your exposure, as you're saying. It will actually help you get pushed out more in front of Fair. And Fair is a massive multi-million-dollar company. So companies like this that are so big, you really want your products on there because there's more people that trust that site. And, that like on your site, you might be lucky to get a couple hundred people a month. Whereas on there, they get thousands, tens of thousands, probably more than that every single week. And so that's the thing. People are finding you that may never have found you before. So even if they do take 25% at the start, those people are probably never going to find you. So, so you just don't know. This is what I'm saying. You just don't know. And it really does help you. It's helped me. People that found me on there said they've never seen me before. They've never, even up to an order last week, a really big order, that person said, oh, I've been looking for someone in this area for so long. I just didn't know anyone that did the things that I wanted to purchase for my retail store. So, and then that was a huge order. And that person's very excited to continuously bring out products, into their store. So that's the thing. And that might be, your hope to kind of blossom that relationship with that person to be a continuous order all the time. Because yes, you're going to get some orders on Fair that are only small orders and they may never come back. But you want to try and blossom orders, whether they're small or big, so that they're going to just continuously come back, because that's what makes you, that gives you that real cash flow of money. And honestly, if it wasn't for wholesale, I would never have had that sort of cash flow. So, and that really has helped me in my business. It's helped me with packaging. It's helped me do all these things that I'm going to do, as well as all of the other things that I'm going to talk about today, like other revenue streams, because, I talk about that. But each time somebody makes a sale, which I've got a few that I haven't contacted, you can contact them through messages on Fair, and you can say, look, are you happy to leave a review? We would really love a review. Obviously, if you've had somebody that you've argued with or anything like that, not that I've had that, but if you had someone that's been quite difficult on Fair, I wouldn't ask them to put a review, because they're probably going to give you a negative one, and you want it to be as positive as you can. You want it to be honest, but you're not going to just, don't put yourself out there to get a negative review, obviously. But they're the kind of things that really do help. And I've noticed literally before, there were some months that I would only have 5 people see me on Fair or look on my site. It's because it wasn't pushed out enough. Whereas now I'm seeing hundreds of people every month hit my site on Fair, sometimes more. And when it means hundreds of people, that means those people have literally clicked on your site, they've clicked on your products and looked. That's not what people are, so Fair will actually show more people, but obviously, your banner and how your site looks, you want them to click on it. If it doesn't look good, they're not going to click. So, and it's the same as your website. You just need to have, everything looking good. So I would say make sure your images are pretty good, your descriptions are good. And you know what? The main thing that I see all the time, and I've had wholesalers tell me this, is people don't write it clearly, the amount of grams in a product. And I look at all different sites. And so many sites, even really big sites, you've literally got to click on their picture to see how many grams are in the product. It doesn't tell you. And some people may only want a soap that's 100 grams, not 150. I personally would not buy a soap that was a massive 200-gram soap, because to me, it would just fall off my soap rack in my shower, and then where am I going to put it? Because I only have, a simple, small, single-person shower, not, I don't have one of those brand new, beautiful, huge ones. So, mine's old, so it only has like a soap rack that's like this big. It's little. So it's only going to hold a small soap. So they're the kind of things that you got to think of. And then when you're on Fair, and I do have a video that's coming out next, and that one will be a little bit about packing an order on Fair, and I'll show you how it sort of, how it comes out, and the paperwork you get and those kind of things. So in that one, I've got a few videos banked up. So anyway, and I'm going to try and do more videos, but now that I have my darling little Pinky, who knows, but I'm going to try my best to get 3 out a week. At the moment, I kind of dropped down to getting 1, because after losing my dad and then losing Peaches, it was a little bit difficult. So I needed to think of myself, give myself a little bit of time as well. But anyway, we're going to get back into it. I promised a few people that I definitely would. But they're just a couple things, like I said, that you can do on Fair. And the same, if you're not on Fair and you've got your own website, that's the same. Send someone a link and say, would you like to review my site? If you've registered your business on Google Business, which you need to do that, it's free. Just all you need to do is just go Google Business and your name, and it will come up and it will say, do you want to claim that this is your business? And you go through all the steps. And that's how I've actually grown a lot, by getting reviews, because the more reviews you have on anything, then basically it really does help you. And I've had some absolutely amazing people that have bought from me, you know, from my store, whether they've bought one little candle or whether they've bought, you know, 100 soaps. Those people have really helped me by giving me a review each time. So it doesn't matter if it's a big purchase or small. You just want somebody to start reviewing your products, and that will really help push you out, because all of this is a part of SEO. You know, the search engines, they need to see that you're reputable. They need to see that people are buying from you, they're reviewing from you. All of these things help. And can I tell you, if you set up your website and you never change anything, and it's like 6 months before you change it, Google look at that. They say, well, hey, is this really an ongoing site? Nothing's changed. So whether you put a new product on, whether you've changed a couple words in a, you know, like a sentence, all of those things really help. They help with the SEO finding you on YouTube. So, sorry, not YouTube, finding you just in the market. It's really important. And it's exactly the same as YouTube. You know, if you've got a channel, the more you put on, hi, be youthful, a bath and body, my love. So, yeah, so the more you put on these things, the better it's going to help you. I promise you, that's really how, you know, I've grown a lot, is by being proactive with that. So now we've talked about that, haven't we? And, you know, as I said, you know, I'm going to be brutally honest here. If you're starting today and giving up in 6 months, you've thrown away a huge opportunity. You really have. Because, you know, you don't want to just start and give up. If I'm going to be brutally honest, you need to do this for 5 to 10 years before you see real results. And I'm getting towards that 5 years, and it's only really the last year, if I'm brutally honest, it's probably really a good, I'd say the last 12 to 18 months that I've really started to see growth. And I've started to see wholesale orders regularly come in and people buying regularly from me. So that doesn't mean I'm making sales on my website all the time. No. And at the start, the hardest thing with websites, so let's talk about a website for a minute. A lot of people say, well, I'm not going to do that because it costs money. I'm just going to go and get Etsy. Etsy is not your website. That is their channel, and at any time they can remove you from Etsy. You need your own website. It provides trust. That is the biggest thing. And, you know, if I'm honest, if I go to someone's site, I don't really care how bad the site looks. But if that site's only been there a very small time, usually I wouldn't buy from them, because you're like, I don't know. And that's how people think. But if they see that your site's been there a while, you know, they go, oh, okay. And now if you write Nelson Soapery on the internet, you put it in the Google search bar, I can tell you, you'll see so many things come up. And that's because I've been around a long time and they slowly come up. It's really hard to get organic traffic from Etsy. Yeah, candle making mama, you're right. And, you know, look, I did this early on. I did a few YouTubes of a test that I did on Etsy. And I did, I think, 2 or 3 different Etsy stores. Do you know, and I put in all the keywords, I did all this, I never got traction. But yet my daughter Emily did really well on Etsy. So it just depends. I think it depends on the industry you're in, how many things you're looking for. Like if we're talking about soap and candles, it is so saturated on Etsy. I don't even bother on there. I mean, look, try everything. That's what I say. Don't give anything up. Try. You may just be lucky. But, you know, and 2, if you're in a place like Australia or New Zealand, where we have a lot less people, it's a lot harder to get your products and your business off the ground. It's really hard. So that's the thing. But if you're in a much bigger country, you know, you got a lot more population to buy. So usually it's generally a little easier. But I wouldn't say it's easy. Even if you're in the US, that's a big company, it's still very, very hard. So now let's just go through, I'm going to go through a few things that I've written down that I think are vitally important to success. And, you know, everyone's success might mean something else to them than it means to me. If I'm going to be honest, success to me, what I personally want, I wanted to have a pink store. I wanted my brand known. I didn't really want to do white label as much. I really wanted to do the brands that people picked up my product and said, Nelson Soapery, love it, buy it. That's what I wanted. And to me, I wanted to have a taking of 200,000 a year. So when I get to that, to me, I've hit the top of what I personally want. So I think that is super, super important as well. So And sorry, I'm just clicking off a couple things on there. So, so that's just me personally, what I want. And I just think it's super important. Oh, so you had, oh, yeah, okay. So you had lots of sales on Etsy, but only one was random. And that's what I mean. You just don't know. But the first thing you want to do, number one, you want to get a business plan. And you don't need to pay for this. You can get a piece of paper and start writing down your plan. Right? What do you want to achieve in 1 month, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years? And then you need to write, okay, how am I going to achieve that? There's no good writing it and doing nothing. So achieving that might be you're going to go to stores to give them a sample. Maybe you're going to email some people. Maybe you're going to get a website happening. Maybe you're going to do markets. These are all ways that you can achieve that as well. Hi, Sheila from Virginia, USA. Hi, my love. Sentiful. That's a cute name. I like that. So that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing you're going to do is you need to research. Before I did anything, I researched. So when I say research how to do things, how to do a business. I mean, you're not going to find that much, but, you might find a little bit. And even research, like, what is popular? What trends are popular? So, a couple years ago, bath bombs were huge, especially in COVID. They were massive. Now, I have actually found that shower steamers have overtaken bath bombs a lot, because a lot of people don't have a bath, especially in Australia. A lot of people have showers because it's more hot here. No one wants to be lying in a hot bath when it's 40 degrees Celsius outside. So shower steamers have taken over. But if I'm really honest, the big sellers for me that I always sell is lip balms. My stone candles, I sell a lot. This month, stone candles have probably been 90% of my taking. But like I said, and soap, I do sell a lot of soap. But sometimes you may be in an area where you don't, and sometimes you get big orders that are all candles, and then you'll get big orders that are all lip balms. And I've sold a lot of lip balms, well over, I think this month over 100. So, and maybe that's not a lot to someone, but to me that's a lot. So it really depends on you as a business. So I think this month I've sold about 250 candles. These are all wholesale orders as well, everyone. I think this month I've had one retail order all month. So that will give you an idea of how slow retail is for online. Angelica, hi, my darling. A small US island in the Caribbean. Okay, Puerto Rico, yeah. So, and you're probably the same as Australia and New Zealand, my love, where it's very hard to get your business going because you've got a much lower population. And that's the thing, population does play a huge part in how your business works. So I can't compare myself to somebody in the US in, say, Boston or, in a big city. You can't compare yourself to that, or New York, because we don't have anywhere near the population. So that's the thing. And although Australia is quite a big island, it's really only around the bay lines. If you have a look at Australia, people live around the bay. They don't live in the center of Australia because it's basically desert. So that's a very important thing to think of. So, like, try not to compare yourself to others. Just do your own race. And if you're selling and there's 2 or 3 things that constantly sell, that, okay, they're trending at the moment. Those things are good to sell. If you're selling, say, bath bombs and no one is buying bath bombs, you've got to move them on, cut them for a while. You can bring them back later, but maybe you just need to get rid of them. There's no good making something that you're losing money on. And that's what happened with me with bath bombs. If you have a look at my site, there's pretty much no bath bombs on there because after COVID, bath bombs, I really struggled to make money on them. So it was, like I said, candles and things like that. So don't also be discouraged when people say, oh, the market's flooded with candles. It may be, but it just depends. You sell more shampoo and conditioner bars. Yeah, and I've heard lots of people talk about that. On my Patreon, I've had a lot of people asking me to give a recipe for a pourable shampoo bar, and I'm about to do that. So I've just finished, doing some recipes and testing on 3 different recipes. So I will actually bring those in some conditioner bars in time. But you can also search on the internet and you may find somebody that does them. I found a few that I was watching, but I wanted to create my own recipe, so that's where I kind of went with it. My bath bombs are amazing. Yeah, I do love the bath bombs, love. I do, but they're just not a big seller. And I mean, I will bring them back for sure, but I'm taking a bit of time off. And also, citric acid went up hugely in price and things like that. So you also have to keep your eye on the ingredients costings. So even like with candle products, that went up. And for me, I make my own candle jars, which I don't know whether you can see. There's one in the background, but the hydrostone and all the stones that I used in Australia is 3 months wait to get all those stones. So for anyone asking me, I've had a lot of questions about being able to get that. Hydrostone, hydrocal, they're all out of stock at Barnes, and Barnes is the main place people buy them from. So I was talking to those and the ladies, and they said they just can't get it from the US. The US even is struggling themselves because it is made from organic rock. So it's crushed rock into a powder and a formulation, and then that's, you know, how we're making it. So if you're doing that, you may have to switch over to jasmonite or castmonite for the time being, or concrete oil. But I don't do concrete oil because it costs too much money to send, and it's too hard to get in Australia. We can get it, but it's harder. So yeah, so the next thing is obviously make sure you're testing it, and you make it, you test it on yourself. You can't sue yourself. So, I test it on me before anyone else. As I said, do your research. That is my next thing. And now, look, think about markets. Are you going to do a market, or are you going to do festivals? Are you going to do fetes, school fetes? There's many things like that to get your name out. I don't do any of those anymore. The only thing I do is I do the big festivals with my daughter, Emily. So in September this year, I'll be at the Melbourne show with Emily, helping her again, because my daughter has 2 young children. So we usually do different days where I'll go in and help, and some days Em will be with me, and other days it will be me and my other daughter, or my son's girlfriend comes to help. So, it's kind of a family helping thing. So see if you've got family or friends that can help do these, because the Melbourne show goes for 9 days straight. So it's a huge festival, and it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to have a booth. So I can't remember. I'm going to say maybe it was $7,000 for the booth last year. It's very expensive. And I'm talking AU dollars, and, sorry, my son's ringing, so I'm cancelling him off. So anyway, so there's those things there. And like I said, you just need to try new things all the time. Some people sell really well on Facebook. I've never sold on Facebook. It's not something I try and do. I use social media really and it's not to sell for me. It's just so I have a presence on social media, because that helps your SEO when people are searching for you or searching for a candle maker. All those things on social media may help people find you. So that's why I do it, and it's not to sell. I don't really sell on those platforms. Like I said, it's really just, in time, after years, people will look up soap makers. If people looked up soap maker or in Gippsland, they'd find me. So, and that's the thing. The more of these things you have, the more trust you build, the more people go, well, she's been around a long time. She's worth buying from. So, that for me is super important. Now, I'm sorry I'm looking down, but I do have all of my things down here. Now, let's talk about this. I did roughly talk about this already, but please, I'm going to beg all of you to do this as new owners. You must have a website. That is the biggest advice I'm going to give you. Please don't do this without a website. I know it's not free, but you must have a site, even if you have one of those free websites at the start. But, it really does make people think you're a real business. If you don't have a website, people don't think you're legitimate. So if you're on a thing like Fair, the first thing they ask is, what's your website? What's your Etsy? If you don't have some sort of thing like that, and especially a website, they want a website, because it builds trust to them. They don't want to just let anybody that's just selling on Facebook go onto wholesale, because then they're like, well, you don't even have a site. How legitimate are you? That's how they look at that. And I know that sounds really harsh, but it's the truth. And, you know, I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to be really honest to tell you these are the things you must have, you know, for other people to buy from you. So, you know, if you don't have that, that's probably one of your biggest reasons for not getting, you know, all of this, you know, people sort of coming towards you. You really do need that. And at the start, you may not get anyone on your website. Don't worry about that. It takes time to build trust, and it takes time for Google and SEO to pick it up organically. So that is super important. And I don't pay for ads. I don't pay for ads or anything. So I just keep it organic. So we've talked about that. We've also talked a little bit about, please don't stress on sales. I know that we all say, well, we want to get 30,000 a month or 10,000 a month or 2,000 a month or 100 a month. But, you know, the more you stress and the more you're really trying to get those, the harder it is for you. It does become really difficult, because then you're sort of stressing about all of that. You know, sales will come, but before sales come, you need to build an audience. You need to build trust, as I've said, and you need to build a brand. Without that, it just takes time. And if I'm going to be honest, at the start, my brand wasn't strong. It wasn't good. But you got to start somewhere. So just start somewhere. You can always improve. You can always do a total rebrand. Many companies do it. Even big, huge companies do it. McDonald's did a big rebrand when they redid their signs because they noticed they looked outdated. In Australia, you know, we had banks that have done total revamps to make them look more modern because they've been around a long time. So don't be scared of that. So now, like I said, there's a few ways to sell. We can do markets, Facebook sales, website sales, wholesale, festivals, school fairs. You know, they're all the things. Most people start at a market. I don't do markets at all anymore, but it was a great way to start and get my brand out and get people to see me. So I do think that is a really good idea. Make sure you give out cards or a flyer or something at markets so that they can find you as well. Now, I'm going to talk about this before, like, we're getting towards the end, but this is important. If you're thinking of selling something, find something that's unique to your business. So for me, I actually thought about going back and making candles in glass jars because it's easier. And then I had so many of my customers, when I put a few social posts up, and they said, oh, you're not going to glass jars, are you? We love buying your candles because you make them yourself. So that was a unique thing for me, that I made them myself. People were really interested in, you know, buying from me because they were handmade as well. Another thing that is a really big thing for me is I only use Australian fragrances. So Australian made. We have a perfumery house in Australia, and some of the Australian suppliers, they actually use them. So I know Pure Candles, nearly all of their products, well, I think there's only a couple that aren't Australian made, but almost all of them are Australian made. I think it might be Scent Method is another one that use a lot of Australian made, and I'm sure there's other companies around, but so that's why I try and look around for Australian made. It's a big thing for me, and it really has helped people, especially wholesale clients, want to buy from me, especially if it's in touristy shops that they're buying for. You know, they want as much Australian made as they can. And the same as if you're in New Zealand, you know, you probably have people that want things made in New Zealand that are coming there as tourists and so on. Our Scent Method is 100% Australian made. Okay, there you go. So I thought that they might have been as well. I did hear that. I've not bought from them, but I definitely will have a look at their products. I did want to have a look at them and test them, because sometimes things don't work. Maybe it's not going to work in a soap or a candle, and not every fragrance can be used in a soap if you're a soap maker. Maybe you want to do more you know, essential oils in soaps. So, if I'm honest, like I've done a few essential oil soaps, they never sell for me as well as the ones that are fragranced. But that's probably just because that's my clients. They've got used to that. But, you know, you may get it a little bit different. Also for me, a thing that was a huge, definitely have a great experience with their fragrance oils. Okay, I'll try them from Scent Method. So another thing that's big for me is shea butter. So I use deluxe shea butter, which is certified organic and certified fair trade. Now that is a huge thing to be able to put on a product, that you're using butters that are that. You know, you can't say your whole soap is fair trade, but you can say that you're using these ingredients that are fair trade, because they are, and that's certified on their site. So you have to be honest. It's no good saying something that isn't true, and you get in trouble for that. So, but you know, for me, that's something a lot of my customers really love, that I'm using that, especially in my butters. And they also love that I do not use palm oil in my soaps. They're totally palm free. At the start, I did use palm oil, and palm, well, I'm going to be honest, it makes a beautiful bar of soap, but it's very controversial. No matter whether you're using sustainable palm or not, a lot of people don't like that. So anyway, so I just stopped using it, and it definitely built a lot more trust when I dropped things like that. As I said, for me, Australian made fragrances are a huge thing, and people I've noticed have really started gravitating towards things that look organic. So as I said, you know, my stone candles, because that kind of has an organic look, people seem to love that as well. The same as a lot of people say, once they start with using, you know, natural soaps, they never want to go back to a store-bought soap. And it's the same as shampoo bars. I love my shampoo bars. And there's different shampoo bars too. While we're talking about this, you can use the pH balanced ones. And then you can use ones that are a pourable ones. So they're a little bit different. And it just depends on which one you like. But if you're making a pourable one, usually it's a little more cleansing. You know, the recipe can be changed and super fatted higher and things like that. And I will do a big post on Patreon. It's on the back of my list because, like I said, I've been working on the new pourable shampoo recipe, and I will actually do a video, but I will just give the recipe on Patreon, I think, for that, because it's taken me a long time to formulate and do a lot of research on oils, because each oils or butters will be different. And a bit of I'll give you a sneak tip here. Something like cocoa butter is a great butter to put in shampoo bars. So that's just my experience. And you got to remember, shampoo is meant to be a bit cleansing, so it's meant to like get rid of all the oils and, you know, clean your scalp and things like that. And then you can add, you know, your conditioner after, which I would definitely suggest that. And I think the world is really starting to slowly go towards more environmental you know, secure products such as shampoo bars, because, you know, you don't have all these big plastic bottles and things in it. The most usually that you've got is a piece of paper wrapped around it, or it's in a box that can be recyclable. So, and, you know, finding products that are raw made products, or products that are just generally more earth friendly, I think is a really big thing at the moment. And I've definitely noticed a huge surge towards my product when I started doing a lot more research on that. And it's not for everyone. Some people don't care, but the market, I think, that soap makers generally in, they do care. Same as candle makers. I think if you start doing all pure paraffin in Australia, a lot of people turn away. If people want paraffin, honestly, they can go to Kmart. Most of Kmart's ones are paraffin or a paraffin blend. So they can go there and get them at a really great price. So to me, I always think paraffin's a bit of a waste to do it as a small maker, because they can go to places like Kmart that are so cheap, we couldn't even compare to their prices. We just couldn't do it because they're making in such massive bulk. And to give you an idea, my candle that I've got here, let me grab it. So this is my candle here that I sell, which is in my jars. So this one here is a coconut soy. Now, this is 230 grams. I charge $39 for this. Kmart, do you know you can get one for $9 for that, for 230 grams? I can't compete with $9. I can't make it for that. So this is what I'm saying. Don't try and compete with these big players, because they are buying in tons and tons of products in one go. So we can't compete with that. I don't even try. And, you know, but if you try and keep it, you know, to all soy or coconut soy or something, people seem to generally really gravitate to that. Well, my customers do anyway. And then you can charge the price that is worthy. You know, you can't, if I did this and sold $20, maybe I'll make $1 or something, the time with wholesale and whatever. But this is what I'm saying. You can't be selling something where you're making hardly any money. If you want to do something on a really big scale, an amazing person to watch, whether you're a candle maker or a soap maker, is the Soap Gal. And she is in the US, but she's really clever in talking about upscaling, how, you know, you do all of these things. And the video I watched the other day, which went for about 8 minutes, it was really good because she was saying, you know, a bar of soap, most people are going to try and, you know, they want to make, I don't know, $4 on a bar of soap. But she said there are some bars of soap she will only make like 10 or 20 cents or 30 cents on the bar. But she's selling in millions of bars. So times that by millions, she's making good money. And big companies that are buying millions of bars in a go, or 100,000, they do not want to pay $8 a bar. They want to get it cheap. So this is the thing. And of course, the only way she can do that is she's buying in massive bulk, all of it oils, everything in huge bulk that I don't buy. So I couldn't compare to someone like that. And that's the thing, you know, and if you want to watch another person, Muddy Mint is another person that I'd say is sort of a medium to large scale. I think I can't remember how many bars, maybe 100,000 they did a year, something like that. But, you know, this is the thing as well, you know, like everyone is at a different scale, whereas me, I would not make anywhere near that amount of soap. So I'm going to say maybe I make, look, it depends, I'm going to say 50 kilos of soap to 100 kilos of soap a year. Doesn't mean I'm going to sell them all in a year. So, but a lot of it I might give away or, I don't know, but, you know, I'm kind of trying to give you a rough estimate, but I couldn't unless I actually sat there and did it. But most of my slab molds are like 5 kilos, so I'm kind of basing it on that. But it just depends. So that's what I mean. Don't try and compare yourself to that. And as I said, you know, these are all the things that you can kind of do. And just try and find something a little bit different. And wherever you go, always talk about your business, always. The amount of sales I've had from when I've just been at the shopping centre and they've said, how's your day? And I've said, great. I'm a soap maker. I've just made soap. And they're like, wow, really? And I was actually in the chemist last week. And this lady, because I said to her, I ran out of castor oil and I was trying to make my daughter the soap, the breast milk soap for her. And I said, oh, I just need some castor oil. And she said, oh, I've been out for ages. And I said, oh, usually I get it in 5 kilo lots, but, you know, or 5 litres, but I haven't. And she said, oh, okay. And she said, well, what do you need it for? And I said, I'm a soap maker. She said, oh, really? And then she said, well, do you sell your things? So I told her, I said, the food and wine, you know, shop in Warragul. I said, they'll actually stock nearly my whole range. Go in there. They've got it all there. So she said, great, I'm going to go in there and buy it. So number one, I've helped me because I sell wholesale to that particular person. And I've also helped that retailer by sending people there. And she said, oh, great, I love that place. I know it. I'll go in there and buy some soap. So this is what I'm saying. It was just going in the chemist. If I had said nothing and just got the castor oil or asked for it and walked out, there would be no one knowing my business. So even if she's not buying from me direct, she's already starting to know my brand. And I had a t-shirt that my daughter had embroidered with my logo. So, and a big thank you for Tammy because she did notice my jumper the other week and she said, I love that jumper, looks great. So my daughter embroidered a jumper for me. So, you know, even if you do get an iron-on canvas sort of thing and iron on your logo onto a jumper or a t-shirt and you're wearing that out, it is all branding and I have a number of them that I do wear out. And I've actually had people even ring me and say, oh, your number was on the back of your jumper and I seen you make lip balms. Where do I get them from? So this is all what I'm saying, you know, and this is free for yourself. I mean, you know, you don't need to pay someone. I mean, yes, of course that does help. But for me, I can't afford that. So I definitely don't do that. And all of these things have led into now me having a conference and me selling wholesale. Like, you know, and this is what I'm saying. It's not going to happen in one day. This has taken years for me to get to this. And as I've said before, almost 500 videos on YouTube. So you really do have to be committed. There's no good doing this business if you just want a wage in 6 months, because you're not going to get that. I don't want to lie. I want to be really honest and tell you this is going to take a long time. But you can do this. It just takes time. So just set all of these things up. Like I said, do a business plan. Just get an exercise book for 10 cents and start writing in that, you know, your plans, maybe some strategies to help yourself. Strategy could be simply embroidering, or, an iron-on image with your branding on it. Oh, okay. So you're a small batch candle maker. Yeah. And your idea is to dispatch bigger. And this is what I'm saying, lovely. When I started making candles, I would make 2 at a time. And I never thought anyone was going to buy my candles. When I did markets, I sold them too cheap. And I did sell a lot. And then I thought, no, I've got to be realistic here. I'll put my price up. And do you know what? This is really funny. This candle here, since I put the price up, which is what I would think is a normal, realistic price, $39 for a handmade candle, a handmade jar, with beautiful ingredients, is important. And can I show you the top? Like, it is smooth, but it's not perfect. I don't try and make these perfect. These are handmade. So what I'm saying is market your product to what you want people to think of it. I don't want people to think this is a commercially made product made in a factory and pumped out millions. I don't want people to think that. I want people to know that this is still a handmade product. People are making this, and, well, when I say people, I mean me, but, eventually maybe I'll get other staff. And, every year I sell more. So this is the thing. If you sell $100 the first year, the next year you just want to sell $150, maybe $120. So you really want to always hope to get 5 to 10% more revenue each year. But if you don't, it's okay. Just go back and have a look. Have a look. What is your most popular product? Maybe you want to start with 10 different candle scents. I know that's a lot, but if that way it gives you an idea. If only 6 or 4 are selling, maybe you've got to start to phase those other ones out that aren't moving because they're not popular. But next year, those other ones may be popular. So you can even just get a couple small bottles at the start of fragrance until you know what really is selling. And now I know what really sells for me. So things like coconut lime, salted caramel, they're always big sellers. Vanilla, always a huge seller. For me, with the new jars, I have only a couple jars that have glitter on the outside. And it takes a bit more of a process to make them, but they're pretty much sold out. So I've got to go on my site because I've just made more to load them back up. But they sold out within like 4 days. And I know lots of you have seen the video I did making hundreds and hundreds of jars. A lot of those jars are gone already. They've already been sold. And this is what I'm saying, if something's not working, for me, the plain Oxford jars I was using, everyone's got them. It's nothing exciting. So I thought I need to find something else that people may be buying. So this is what I'm saying, find another product, another idea, another idea that may be selling better. Or even my wax melts, I thought, how can I make them different to everyone else's? So I started getting linen bags, and then I get my labels. Now they get professionally made. And then they get ironed on with a big iron press. So I'm going to buy my own iron press. I'm using my daughter's at the moment, but you can even use an iron. It will take longer. You just turn the steam off. It will take longer, but you can still use a basic iron to press on these things. And let me grab them and I'll show you so then you can see what I mean. I will just be a moment. So these are my wax melts. So I decided to put them in these bags, and they're just like, a linen kind of bag. And then I got these particular, so I designed this. This is actually made with an AI that I actually pay for. You have to pay for this service. And then basically I did everything I wanted, and then basically that's what it is. So this one's my Shea Beauty one, which has a sort of a very natural cocoa kind of one in it, and that's what I mean. And then inside there is, you know, the container that I bought. Eventually I would love to use them so that there was no plastic container, but you know, in Australia it gets too hot and I know they're not going to work. So that was one. And then I've got my lavender one, so just to give you an idea. And this is the thing too, everybody. If you're going to put this logo here, every single time you want to have it the same. You want to have this the same. So the style I did means that I want this the same every single time. It's really important. And also my candles are done in linen jars. So if I do this, for instance, you want to go, okay, that's going to be how they're going to be selling. So I was going to get boxes for my soap, and I don't know, I may, but then I also thought maybe I can put my soap in linen bags. The only thing with the soap is expensive. You know, like if I put it in a linen bag, it's going to make it really expensive. So sometimes, you know, maybe for the soap, you know, maybe you just want to put it in a box. Maybe you want to just put the cigar band, but you can still use this same kind of idea on the band. So that's what I'm kind of saying, everyone. Hopefully that gives you an idea of, you know, how I'm actually doing things and how I've thought, okay, this isn't selling. Everyone has a box. And when I sell the candles now and they are in the canvas bags, I've had so many wholesalers say, I love that. It looks really natural. It looks organic. It's got your branding on it. And I do have a few retailers, and they tell me that people actually say, oh, I bought this lady's brand, but, you know, I can't see it. And then they say, well, okay, we're getting more or whatever. And that's the thing. If you create a brand that people like, they'll come back. And I've actually had people that have emailed me and said, oh, I was up in Queensland and I bought this product, and they don't sell your product anymore, or they don't have something else. Can we buy it from your site? And I've said, sure. And that's the thing. Not all your wholesalers are going to keep you forever, which is fine. They might have sold their shop or anything. So don't think it's you. Something just may have happened. Maybe their business didn't work. But if you make something that's memorable, people remember it and they'll come back. So anyway, like I said, I hope today has been a little helpful. I hope it's given you some ideas with your business. And some of my beautiful things like this, I am actually going to be bringing out some aprons, and the aprons will be for soap and candle makers. They are going to be on the Australian Soaping and Candle Conference website. We'll be selling those, but they're not ready yet because that website will be changing. It'll be exactly the same website you type into, but we are updating it to make it really beautiful for the new year. So if you want to come to Queensland, just go over there and grab a ticket to come to Queensland next year, which I'll be up there. And I'm hoping to come to the US in 2026. That will be very exciting if I get to come to a conference over there, but that is my ultimate dream, to come with a friend of mine. So we will see. We will see how much money I can save, because it costs a lot of money to get there from AU. So anyway, we will see. And of course, I'll need to keep someone at home to look after beautiful Pinky for me. So for now, I will go. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, and make sure you love all my videos, or come and check me over on Patreon, where I give a little bit more insight. I'm very casual over there. I don't run it like a lot of other Patreons where they're very strict on the days they put it. I just constantly just add extra things and hope that people do love my Patreon. Anyway, I'll see you next time, friends. Bye.